Hello people, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, but I hope you guys are doing well in this pandemic. So today I'm going to bring you guys to something really special. It's Sony's best phone ever made. It's pretty good actually, I'm not joking, but it has some flaws. So it's the Xperia 1 II. Here you go. You can look at it. It's really special. If you're putting 1,200 USD on a phone, this is the phone to get. It's really long, really boxy. It's like a solid chunk of aluminum. It feels really good in hand. It's really unique. You bring it out, no one is using a Sony phone, so you are showing off literally for using a special phone. Everyone knows it. Even my dad knows it. The moment I got this phone, I got a new phone. He has, I got maybe 6 or 7 phones every year. I change phone every 2 or 3 months. So it's like he never realized it, but this one is really, really unique. It's like a remote control, whatever you want to call it. It's unique. So the color I got is white. It also comes in black and purple. Purple is the, Sony's signature color. If you're getting one, that's the one to get. And yeah, on the front you have a really long screen, 4K. Yeah, it's not wrong. 4K resolution, OLED, 6.5 inches, 21:9 ratio. It's really long and it has bezels. Okay. I put a, like a dark background wallpaper to make it not apparent. I'll put it into something more, yeah, I'll use a Sony one. So, as you can see, it's really apparent now. You can see the bezels. So I have bezels for usage. I'll talk about them later. And the back is just gloss and a really, good looking, not ugly camera cutout, which pretty nice. And you can see the Zeiss words there. It's too bad they don't put the Zeiss blue logo. It will make it, I'll feel better. If you're a camera geek, you will love Zeiss. So it has Zeiss and the T-Star logo here, signifying that this has the T-Star coating on the lens. This is a great lens. And the glass here, the Sony here, this is a design that has been going on since, Xperia Z, the first Xperia phone, and they still look great and classy. Sony always makes the great design. And as you look at it, headphone jack, headphone jack. Also, it has the micro SD here, living inside, and the Type-C port here. Everything, there are very few ports here. It's really not busy and classy looking. The sides are aluminum. And the volume buttons, side-mounted fingerprint sensor, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, like I say, it's a special phone. All the things that haven't been existing for these 2 or 3 years of phones. Side-mounted fingerprint sensors and a shutter button, a long-lasting tradition of the Sony phones. So it's special. You look at it, no matter how you look at it, it's special. It's a good looking phone. The build quality is superb compared to something like a Galaxy or other Android phones that normally don't feel premium, and most of the time if they are light they feel plasticky, because this phone is pretty light. So, but it doesn't feel like plastic unlike Galaxies, but it doesn't feel heavy like an iPhone. It's a perfect balance, which I think more brands should follow up to it. Yeah, overall it's a really decent piece of hardware to hold on hand. It's kind of like one of my favorite phones. The essential phone. I always love this phone. It's about 3 years old. I still come back to this because the hardware on this is so good. It feels like a block of steel in your hand and have perfect form factor, very minimal bezel. Sorry I didn't turn it on, but you can Google it, how it looks like. The bezel is here, it have a notch here, but everything's perfect. And no protruding camera cutout. So, it's kind of like that phone, but this one is less robust. So yeah, and less heavy too. So yeah, this is about the design. And we can talk about the screen. So it's not a normal screen, it's 21:9, it's really long. Right, it's good for you to multitask it. You know, you put one app here, one app down there. Sony has a custom app to support the multitask on this thing, so it's pretty good, pretty easy to multitasking too. And it's 4K, so good for content consumption. And when you go on to YouTube, you can see the option of 2160p available for you to take it. It's pretty insane. And you know, the longer you use the phone, the more you can appreciate how dense the pixels are, how, you know, clear everything is. And you know, the display is supported by Sony Colors, who makes, you know, the best TVs in the world, all the Sony TVs. So the colors are the most accurate for I have ever seen. So it's really pretty and really bright too. It's an OLED. Sony is not using LCD anymore like they used to. So even under a heavy sunshine, it's still really readable. Everything is still clear. So all in all, it's pretty amazing. It's a great phone from just looking at it. All right, we can talk about the other features that lies in the phone. So the bezels that have the real dual front-facing speakers. They are not like a, you know, normal speakers and a earpiece. They are real. So I think they are the best sounding ones, no doubt. They are really, even though in 2021 there are still really few phones that are launched with, you know, dual front-facing speakers unless they are flagship. So here's one, and they are using the real, you know, dual front-facing setup. That sounds really good. And Sony has a special features this time. It's called dynamic vibration. So, you know, when you come on Spotify, you want to play some song. All right, I'll just do something I'm listening in. Okay, you can see this option. All right, it will make the phone vibrate itself. All right, to produce more bass. It sounds silly, but if you are, you know, watching video or listening to music while holding the phone is really important. It feels like, you know, it has a really full bass, and the sound is rich and premium. It sounds like nothing else in all the phones. Maybe some LG phones have some special features can beat this thing, but iPhone's Galaxy, there's stand no chance beside this thing. This is best sounding. This can even replace, you know, Bluetooth speakers unless you want really high volume. This is that good. It's really good. The whole experience is designed for you to, you know, watch Netflix movies, YouTube's. It's the best watching experience, hands down. You know, no cutout here, so you are not, you know, obstructed. There's no black dots here or notch whatsoever. None. This is perfect. Besides the hardware, it also comes with Snapdragon 865, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gig of internal storage. You can also get one that's 12 gig of RAM. So I think that's China limited. All right, so yeah, all the specs to run the software. The software of it is really clean. It's stock Android, you know, with some Sony apps and tweaks. Nothing special, but you know, everything works, you know, not something crappy or, you know, bad looking. It's all, you know, stock Android. So the performance is nothing to argue about. It's also one of the points we come back to the Xperia 1 2 today, even though, you know, they Snapdragon 888 phones, they are coming to launch. This is still really good performing. They're still a top performer. And yeah, for gaming, it practically runs everything other than Genshin. It will start a bit in Genshin because Sony has a notorious 60 degrees temperature limit in this thing, so you need to use a cooler if you want to game. Also, tagging along with the very good camera system is Sony's Photo Pro and Cinema Pro apps. There are special manual modes that you can, you know, use the phone like a DSLR, so like a mirrorless. So you can, you know, customize your setting. You can, you know, you can have a few modes. You can have auto mode, then, you know, you have P mode, S mode, and M mode. Like a Sony camera, you can tweak your shutter speed, You can go into program mode, all sorts of things. And when you are in this mode, it runs faster. It's really dedicating all the resources to, you know, making sure the camera works. Yeah, it also have the video pro mode, which I won't really go into, and you can, it has special color sciences and special video features that you can use it like a alpha camera or any other cinema camera, video camera. You have really strong manual mode if you want to use it. All right, so with the perfect specs, it should be a perfect phone, isn't it? However, as Sony is Sony, if you're a fan of Sony, right? They're weird. They have different vision for their product. So let's start with the front. Start again, but in a negative way. So what I've said in the first half of the video are all the positive way, but Sony has created a paradox where all their positive points, if you don't enjoy them, they are negative point of the phone. So the long screen, all right, really long. You should be able to consume a lot of content on it. Actually, no. So when you're browsing the web, you're scrolling through Facebook or Twitter, all right, the pictures, they take up a big chunk of the screen because of how narrow it is. And the pictures on Facebook and everything, they have a fixed ratio. So you end up only focusing on the top 2/3 or the bottom 2/3 of the phone. You're not really looking at the whole display. It's the same with the 16:9 videos on YouTube or everywhere. If you don't zoom it, they are stuck in the middle and all the space are wasted. And because of how our eyes are not vertical but horizontal, so yeah, you just can only focus on one point of the phone. So you want to see more, you still end up scrolling the phone. All right. It's just kind of like using other phones. The space, if you're not multitasking another app, it's wasted. And with Android, it's, multitasking on it with, touch input, everything, is still quite bad. All right, so they're only good if you have like a YouTube on it, on the top, and something else on the bottom. Otherwise, that's really no point into multitasking. Those are left for foldables. On this thing, it's pretty hard. It doesn't really work like like an ultra wide monitor. It just simply doesn't. The screen are all wasted, and it has a 4K display, so it consumes a lot of juice of the battery, and it doesn't downscale in. I think it downscale into 1080p when you're not watching video, but you're still powering up a 4K display. There you have it. And it doesn't have high refresh rate. It's 60 Hz. Even with Sony's exclusive motion blur technology, scrolling feels a bit better compared to other 60 Hz display. It's still not smooth, rapid. And Sony's UI, it's running stock Android, and it's not Pixel's Android. So it has really feel transitional animation, or all the fancy things when you switch between apps. They're just like really brute, using the Snapdragon 865 to brute force through all the apps, and they feel chunky. The experience is not really flagship wise. It's not like our typical flagships. So you might want to look at the Xperia 5 II, which is like a downgrade of this, but similar spec with 2K and 120 Hz. Yeah, that's the one you should look at if you want something more conventional. This is not fast and still take up a lot of battery. Yeah, and then the front-facing speakers that are so great that makes the phone have thick bezels. All right. Why? I don't really appreciate this. I prefer a phone with minimal bezel, with full screen, full display. That's the future we are heading to, not this. I would rather to have a notch. You're right. And for having this thick bezels, no Face ID, no IR scanner or anything, It's still stuck with this side-mounted fingerprint sensor, which can be pretty great if you're wearing a mask, but it's not really sensitive. I've realized it's not like the front face, like the front sensors or the back sensors of other phones. It's not really sensitive, and it's really thin. You can see it's as thin as the frame of the phone. They need to make it to fit into the frame, so I don't really enjoy it. using this, I prefer, you know, all this design, they don't really mix together, and they make the phone ultimately too long, simply too long. I'm 6 foot tall. I think my palms are pretty big for average humans, and yeah, I can barely reach the, you know, top 1/3 of the display all the time. I need to, you know, use my other hand to go to the notification. It's really hard most of the time. You can't really use this phone one hand. That's the thing with this phone. It's just, you know, when I just bought it, I thought it would be a great phone to be used one hand, you know, without a case. No, you need 2 hands to use this phone, typing or whatsoever. And because of the protruding camera cutouts, yeah, you need a case with this thing. So all the fancy build quality, the premium feeling, it's all gone after using a case. They don't matter anymore. All the build quality, nah, it feels like every other phone now after a case. You know, conflicting design choices. This is what the phone is about, and we're going to talk about a lot of it, all these conflicting things in the coming characteristics of the phone. Yeah, also it has, you know, stock Android with minimum skin, but the update is pretty slow for this phone. It's already 2021. It's still yet to receive Android 11. Only some variant of the phone has Android 11, so you need to check. It's still on Android 10. All right, done with the, you know, external hardware. So we come to the feature, the highlight of the phone, the camera. So it comes with a really robust set of features and camera lenses and optics, but the stock app sucks. It takes half a second to launch. It's just bad. And when I'm using it with the, you know, dedicated shutter button, I always miss focus because the app doesn't really give you a feedback, neither vibration or a beep. So when I'm, you know, trying to take a picture of this, it just, you know, it doesn't have anything that comes to me. So most of the time when I half press this, like, you know, like a camera, or like, you know, older Sony phones, and take a picture, I thought it's focused, but it came out blurry. So it's pretty bad. So, but if you're using just, you know, touch and capture, it's all right. Yeah, and the whole design is pretty bad too, in my opinion, because like the phone is so long, it's really hard to take good pictures with just one hand, like I can do with all the other phones. You need to, you know, use 2 hands, or it's really easy to, you know, take a blurry picture, which, you know, misses the point. This should be the fastest autofocusing phone in the market. It has, you know, all the latest things, latest tech from the alpha cameras, but nope, not with the stock camera app. But, you know, if you use a Photo Pro app, yeah, and the auto mode in the Photo Pro app, it's perfect. Focus instantly and insanely quick, and like you can see, you can just, you know, point at something and shoot. It's the real good auto mode, but it's absent from the camera app. So if you're not really, you know, interested into photography, you just want like a normal looking decent phone, and you accidentally bought the Xperia, you will realize that camera on this thing is bad. The fact is, it isn't, but because of the really bad stock camera app, and, you know, it doesn't even have a good auto mode, it just sucks. You can't even take good pictures. Like, why Sony? And also, we need to go to the Cinema Pro mode. I don't even bother to try to use that thing because, you know why? We have cameras, real cameras. Like, why should I spend time to, you know, learn to take videos on this thing, learn to take good pictures on this thing? It doesn't make sense. It's a phone. Like, people who are interested in these things and, you know, feel compelled to learn, they at least have a alpha camera, something which I'm recording with, you know, and other cameras. I have 3 cameras. You know, a phone camera should, you know, do something it's best at. point and shoot. Sony fails miserably at that. Why? The manual mode is brilliant. I'm not denying that, but as all the reviewers have pointed out, this misses the point. And you know, reviewers like us, all the tech medias, MKBHD, Android Police, everyone else, Mr. Mobile, we all have cameras. It doesn't make sense for a phone to be so complicated yet hard to use. It's such a disappointment with the Xperia shooting with this. Like, I'm expecting it to be great. Yeah, it has a shutter button. It should be decent. It should be a dream. But no, Sony just say, you need to learn. You know, you need to learn to use a camera. Yeah, I have your camera here. You know, this thing should be just point and shoot. This philosophy, coupled up with the long screen, it's kind of like Sony is stuck. They're stuck in somewhere really up, really nowhere, and they just don't use a phone. It feels like their product manager never use a decent phone. They never try on an iPhone or Galaxy. Don't know why all the phones sell so well, because they should cater to mainstream audiences first. And I thought I'm quite techy, I'm quite geeky. I don't really use those features. Like, who are they for? Tell me. Why should I shoot this review with this phone instead of some A7 S2, something with a flippy screen, a dedicated video camera? Why should I shoot with this thing instead? Yeah, it have other features, but it should do well at just doing simple things. The main thing of these things, of the Xperia, right? The main thing with the Xperia is that it's not really excel at the basic things before trying to fill the big shoes. That's the overall experience about using this thing, right? The screen, the features, the camera, the app. The really special, the one thing I really like about this one, the dynamic vibration. Yeah, they're not working. When I buy a phone, when it costs like 1.2 grand USD or now 800 USD, I expect the basic thing to function well. And Sony, while being a master at crafting, this engineering masterpiece, they don't make good phones. It's still a thing in 2021, unfortunately. They don't make good flagship phones. If you really want to get this, if you really like it, go for it. It actually nails all the basic features, It works better compared to like a Poco phone, Poco X3. It works way better than that. It fills up all the basic necessities of what a phone should do. It's just that it's not really a flagship by the common standard. A brilliant camera out of the box, brilliant hardware, brilliant experience. It's not here. It's Sony. All right. So if you're really not a fan of the special features I have mentioned in the first half of the video, yet you still want this phone, I suggest you to wait until it drops further into like at 500 or 600 USD. It's pretty good. All right, it's like a mid-tier phone. So you are getting Snapdragon 865 and all the top specs for cheap, like a S20 FE price. That's pretty reasonable, isn't it? So yeah, good job, Sony. And as like a tech reviewer, I wouldn't really say get better Sony, try to be more Samsung and iPhone, because at the end of the day they won't. If they do, all right, they'll become boring. So yeah, I'm stuck in this paradox. But thanks Sony for making this special phone. All right, so thanks for listening to all my rants about this phone. It's more rant than praising this phone, because I really tried really hard to like this phone. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe if you like my content. I'll see you all next time with more special gadgets. Goodbye.